Well, hello there, everybody. Welcome to another stream. When I say everybody, at the moment we've got exactly zero viewers. So, for the most part, I'm going to be quiet today, and we're just going to get ourselves started on a flight between Frankfurt and Singapore. We're flying the PMDG Boeing 777-300ER, and we've got about 40 minutes before our scheduled time of departure, and we're more or less following the real-world flight plan of Singapore Flight 325. Boarding's about halfway through. I think I started a little bit early, and we're just going to go ahead and start setting up the 777 for our departure. So let's get right into it. We're using VATSIM today, and I'm hoping to also get into a little bit of VR as well, if performance is going to be satisfactory. Very nice. Just before we get started now that we're in the flight deck, I'm just going to tell the aircraft where we are. We're in Frankfurt, Rhein-Main Air Base. The routes are in, and we're going to request a sim brief route. We'll let it set the payload and the fuel, and we'll select this route. There's a couple of control bindings that need to be changed as well just before we get started. And I'm setting this up to almost what a cold and dark might look like, and we'll proceed from there. Well, a cold and dark, I mean a turnaround state might look like. Let's load the flight plan. While that's underway, I'm going to show you what it is that we're going to be doing today. There you go. That's the plan for today's flight. Let's see if I can't make it any bigger, and we can go through that very quickly. We're Singapore Flight 325. 9 Victor Sierra Whiskey Uniform. It's Boeing 777 from Frankfurt to Singapore. The flight plan I think is slightly out of date. You see here where payload and cargo is limited by maximum takeoff weights because we got full passengers, full cargo on our flight to Singapore. We're using a cost index of 80. It's a total ground distance of 5,810 nautical miles and an air distance of 5586. Now that the air distance is a little bit less than the ground distance, I should tell you that we are getting pushed along, which makes sense here because as you see the average wind 258 at 35. It's coming in from behind us from the west, so we're flying east, so that's going to be pushing us along the way, and that's what you see here as well, the average wind correction plus 19. All that's done, no takeoff alternate required. It's a pleasant day here in Frankfurt. We'll take a look at the weather shortly. It's an ETOPS and ETP flight, but that's going to be a little bit further along our route. We can talk a little bit about ETOPS and ETP once we get to our cruise, if you are in fact interested in things like that. Total flight time is going to be 11 hours and 42 minutes. And we've got a 5% contingency. The alternate is going to be Kuala Lumpur Sepang International. It'll take us about 36 minutes if we want to divert to Kuala Lumpur. Final reserve is set at 30 minutes, and the ETP flight, the ETOPS portion of the flight did not require any additional fuel. As such, the minimum takeoff fuel today is going to be 116 tons and 600 kilos. Pardon me, I have a cat friend here with us today who needs a little bit of attention. Yes. The oh, all right, he wants up. Okay, excuse me. Come on up then, Arch. All right. Let's feature the cat pilot. It's his first time flying, so please take it easy on him. Well, I guess you can't see him, but okay, he's here. Okay, Mochi. All right, pardon me for that. Need to give the cat some attention. Great. So final reserve plus alternate is going to be about 8.5 tons. The trip fuel and taxi is going to be one. We're going to go with the final block of 117254, which is what SimBrief has loaded for us. I think it's acceptable, and we've just now loaded it into the aircraft as well. Let's go a little bit further down. Alternate routing, not required at the moment. I can tell you a little bit about our flight plan. It's quite long here, as you can see. We'll just take a quick look on the map. That's what 11 hours and 30 is going to take us. We're going to start our journey off, let me put you on world map. We're going to start our journey here in Frankfurt, Germany. We'll track eastbound. We'll take a look at, maybe I think the satellite map might work better. Yeah. Frankfurt, we'll track eastbound. We'll fly a little bit north of Munich there. We'll keep going north of Salzburg. We'll enter Austrian airspace around Salzburg, fly just south of Vienna, going into Hungary. We'll fly over Lake Balaton. There's a straight line all the way to the Turkish border. Essentially, we'll go from Hungary on to Romania. Might even go through a little bit of Serbia there, but I think it's mostly Romania, then Bulgaria, into over the Black Sea. We're just going to show up north of Istanbul. We'll track north of the Turkish coastline, just off the Black Sea, and then into, looks to me that we're going to be entering through Armenia. From Armenia into Azerbaijan, across the Caspian Sea. Turkmenistan's next. We'll fly over Turkmenistan all the way, and then we'll have a short moment as we fly over the Hindu Kush Mountains here in Afghanistan, over the northern part of Pakistan. We'll fly over the plains of Punjab into India, cover northern India, all the way through to the Bay of Bengal. That's where the ETOPS portion of our flight commences. Fly over the Andaman and Nicobar Islands, part of India there. And that's one of our ETOPS airports. Phuket. We'll fly over the Straits of Malacca, across Malaysia, fly right over our alternate Kuala Lumpur, and we'll make our arrival finally into Singapore, Changi International Airport. So that's what 11.5 hours of flight is going to get you. For the most part, weather is supposed to be okay. We have quite a bit of, we have a nice tailwind for most of the route, and a few isolated CBs, and associated with the tailwinds, we've got some clear air turbulence, so areas of potential clear air turbulence. This whole journey is going to put us down into Singapore. Scheduled is going to be 3:30, but we're probably going to end up a little bit late, and we're expecting to touch down in Singapore at a local time of 4:10 p.m., just shortly before sunrise. And that's it. That's all this is going to tell us. We can just use this while we're here. Quick moment to take a look at the weather and the ATIS here at Frankfurt according to VATSIM. Information Papa. Metroport time at 1950. So not too long ago, about 17 minutes ago. This is the arrival ATIS. Let's take a look at departure. There we go. Sear, expect Alice Yankee, okay. Radar vectoring, GLS. Aircraft departing 07 Center. Expect intersection. Sorry, I don't get that. Hold on a second. Departing 07 Center and 18. Okay. 07 Center can expect departure from Lima 17. If unable, will advise. Transition level 70. 0 degrees 1002. No second. Good. So at 0 degrees, there's some considerations that we can take into. We can talk about the compressibility of air. So basically, the altitude that you see yourself at, your true altitude, you're actually quite a bit lower than where you think you are. So what we end up doing is we compensate for it by putting ourselves at a higher, with a higher margin, let's say. We're not going to do any of that now. 0 degrees is not too bad, and most of the time European airports tend to be temperature corrected to a lower altitude anyway, so it's not really a big deal as far as we're concerned. We're gonna make it fine. It's not gonna be a concern. Good. So now that we've talked a little bit about the route, let's go ahead and start setting up the aircraft. Preliminary pre-flight's done, so we've done security checks. Everything's okay here. Documentation's checked. The aircraft is in good health. Nevertheless, let's go ahead and take another quick look here at ground operations and maintenance. One of those tires are a little bit poor, but we'll go ahead and get it back to Singapore, and then we'll take another look at it. In terms of oil quantity and oil pressure, sorry, oil quantity and hydraulic quantity, we still have above 20 units. We're still good there. And if we look at statistics there, the hydraulic quantities are sufficient, it should be okay to get us back all the way to Singapore. That's done. Preliminary pre-flight mostly done, and IRS is aligned. Emergency exit lights on because the passengers are on because the passengers are already boarding. And what we're going to do now is finish up here on the FMC. So Singapore 325, no special, no fancy call sign. That's exactly how it is. And we're just going to take a quick look at the route. So we start off with the Sydney departure, most likely expecting it off runway 18, to be honest. Zulu 74 to Harem, then it's Aslep, Taco to Dinko. You see a lot of directs here. It's because a lot of Europe employs something called free route airspace, so you just basically need to plan point to point. And if you're on CPDLC, most of the time they give you direct to somebody else's FIR, the exit of somebody else's FIR. And that stops Lima 603 at Besni, Lima 605 to Munich, direct Alu to Bibag, Lima 605 Iziga, Vilom Stein, this is somewhere in Austria, Tegri, Dinro, November 743 to Udros, that's the entry into Turkey there. And then Upper Mike 859 to Cardi, UL 851 to Trabzon, UR 3117 Reblo, Papa 130 Mehmet, Bravo 449 to Rana. Just taking a look here at my sim brief. Rana, Lima 750 next to Zulu Bravo, and then Golf 202 to Romeo Kilo, yep. Papa 628 Ibani, Lima 510 Kival, Papa 628 to Victor Papa Lima, Yankee 503 to Rinba, Yankee 507 to Makna, Rinba, Makna, yep. Yankee 511 to Topor, Alpha 464 to Rama, thereafter direct T-Bone, and that's it. We're gonna have to set an arrival and departure, but we're just gonna execute it as is at the moment. Let's see, 290 cost index 80, reserves 8.4. Sometimes it gets it a bit wrong, but today is correct, 8.4. We can go ahead and accept that. Thrust limit TBD, takeoff TBD. So let's go ahead and load all the wind data for the flight. And while the wind data is loading, it's pretty quick. The real airplane takes a little bit longer than this, if I'm not mistaken. Or maybe the 777 is quite quick, but some real airplanes can take a little bit longer. All right, all of that is in. And let's go ahead and do the pre-flight. So you as a commander would end up testing the lights. Let's take a quick look. I haven't had any failed lights on VATSIM. I don't think that's something that's modeled. So, because there's a lack of consequence, it's not something that we really take a look at. I'm gonna go ahead and put that in dim. Next, I'm gonna go ahead and check my oxygen. You're making sure that the flow shows up, and you're also trying to make sure that the pressure doesn't drop by more than 100 psi while you do the oxygen test. So the crew oxygen is going to show up here. Yeah, so we'll have a short drop maybe, but shouldn't drop more than 100 psi. So that's good. We'll assume that's done. We'll come across here. The pilot flying, so I'll go ahead and now my flight director. Doesn't really make a big difference. I'm expecting runway 18, so I'll go ahead and say 180. And off the top of my head, I think I remember Frankfurt being something like 5,000 feet initial climb. We'll go ahead and take a look at all that. Minimums TBD. We're going to set the engine out waypoint there, and the last QNH we received was 1002, and we'll use hectopascals for our departure. 1002 set. They're all linked across, so we don't really need to worry about it. Don't have this, don't have that. We'll set the parking brake here, and we'll just test the flight controls, make sure the speed brakes are in fact on. Yeah, so this needs a little bit of calibration. I've been noticing it almost every other flight that I do. It needs it needs to be recalibrated. I think it's most likely a problem with what I'm doing. Yeah, definitely a problem with what I'm doing, and in fact I'm missing entirely the right side. So I've been told that the way to do it is to unplug and hold the left button while I plug it in. Move them all up one by one. Move them all down one by one. And that should be saved. All right, now I gotta redo that because I didn't do that correctly. Right, up, 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 down, 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 and that should be it. Yep, that moves a lot smoother now. Seems I haven't even connected my right throttle levers. Let me just go ahead and do that real quick. It's probably going to need to be resynced as well. Yep, that's okay. The right side's working okay as well. Good. Technically, you're just going to try and make sure it's idle and stowed. That's good. That's good. We'll let the FO do the rest of the stuff now. From the FO's flows, he's going to go ahead and drop top to bottom here. It's still on APU. Camera light's not exactly required at the moment. We're going to use that for taxi. And we'll move further down. Everything's off at the moment. Nav, logo, good, good, good. Maybe it's easier if I switch us to an instrument view, overhead lower. Yeah, so we can see what we're going through. Normal, normal. Everything's off. Everything looks like it's auto. Concept here is you should see no amber lights. If you see amber lights, you just want to make sure that they are in fact in that switch position. So the idea is essentially you'd have very nice, clean, dark flight deck. To me, this looks okay. We're going to go back to our normal view here. And the FO is going to carry on with his flow. He's going to go ahead and go there. And we'll start tuning the frequencies. Listen to all of them. Transmit only on this. Left, right, and we'll leave the center for data. You see that one there. So there's no need to monitor it. International emergency frequency 1215. We're going to be using digital lattices, so it's not really required for us to have it on here. 1215 switched. And we'll go ahead and tune Frankfurt. Just want to make sure that we are in fact able to listen to Frankfurt here. Frankfurt ground is available on 121855. Let's go ahead and tune that.
Frankfurt ground, good avond, Dolomiti 8 November Mike on November 4.
Hello, Dolomiti 8 November Mike, taxi Lima, hold short of November 7.
Taxi Lima, hold short November 7, Dolomiti 8 November Mike.
Actually, Lufthansa Frankfurt.
It's quite busy in Frankfurt, so I'll just turn that down for a second. I will pre-select the Cindy arrival here, departure here, and we'll ask for our departure clearance shortly. Just using the taxi to remind myself if there's any specific NADP procedures required here at Frankfurt. NADP is noise abatement departure procedure. Yes, runway and use 18. Okay. RNF1, which is fine. Okay, let me just say hello because I think it's going to get a bit busy here, okay? And we're going to request for ATC clearance shortly.
November 7, hold short of November Lufthansa 8 November Mike.
Good evening, Skylink 31 Yankee Stan Victor 160, information Papa request IFR clearance. Hello, Skylink 31 Yankee info Papa clear to Lima Foxtrot Lima Lima, Adeki to Lima departure, flight plan room, flight was set to 4,000 feet for 1,000. Clear to destination on Yankee 2 Lima departure, flight plan route, initially 4000 and squawk 1000, scanning 0 Yankee. Correct, Lufthansa 1300, contact tower 11879, bye.
Frankfurt, ground request taxi my runway, GN 1976.
Let's get ready to copy the TC clearance. So I'll bring you here to show you how I write it down.
11878, schönen Abend noch.
Ebenfalls Lufthansa 0 to Nana, continue November 8, hold short of Lima.
Just a reminder which stand I am and on what ATIS I have.
November 8, hold short of Lima.
Weiter November, Hochstadt of Lima, Lufthansa 0 to Nana.
Negative, November 8, hold short of Lima.
Sorry, November 8, Hochstadt of Lima, Lufthansa 0 to Nana.
Lufthansa 0, question 80, Nana Mike, taxi by November 7, stand Victor 143.
Can you say this again, please? Sorry.
Victor 143.
Could you taxing November 7 to stand 14, Victor 143, Lufthansa 8 to Nana Mike.
Telemetry 8, November Mike, taxi right, November 7, November, stand Victor 157.
Repeat please, let me say it November.
Okay, I'm gonna do some other stuff until he's until I hear a gap, and then I'll jump in.
Stand Victor 157.
Taxi via November 7, November, to stand Victor 157. I'll then meet you 8 November Mike.
Lufthansa correction agent Nana 876, stand by for taxi decimal traffic department.
Frankfurt, ground request taxi runway, GN 1976.
FM, stand by for taxi inbound traffic.
Ground Singapore 325.
Santa Ana Lima Lima, request taxi.
Singapore 325, correct?
Alright, Singapore 325, stand Bravo 45 with Papa, request ATC clearance Singapore 777.
Low number 1, Lufthansa Nana Lima Lima,
Okay.
778, flight taxi by correction. Taxi by November 5 and Lima.
Taxi by November 5 and Lima to runway 18, Lufthansa Ana Lima Lima.
Lufthansa 0 to Nana, taxi right Lima, hold short of Lima 1.
Taxi right on Lima, Hochstadt Lima 17, Lufthansa 0 to Nana.
GN Nana 876, taxi by November 7, hold short of Lima.
Taxi by November 7, full short Lima, GN 1976.
Singapore 325, information Papa, cleared Singapore, Cindy 8 Sierra departure, flight planned route, time flight set to 4000 feet, squawk 1226.
Clear to Cindy via this. Sorry, clear to Singapore via the Cindy 8 Sierra departure. Flight plan route. Initial climb 4,000 feet. Squawk 1226. Singapore 325 heavy.
Correct, Lufthansa 0 to Nana, contact tower 1.
All right, so that's sorted out. Let me go ahead and put those numbers in.
Lufthansa 0 to Nana, danke dir. April, hallo, Lufthansa Primark Alpha.
Altimeter 1, 2, 2, 6. Set. Clear to 4,000 feet. Set as well. And there's a Cindy 8 Sierra, which I've set up for us as well. That's done. I've been getting some of the departures ready in the meantime, so let me turn these guys down again. I'll be getting some of the departures ready, so we can talk about that just now. And I'll show you up here on my iPad how that's working out for us today. Good. So the plan of action here, we're at Frankfurt Airport. We're parked somewhere there in this corner, Bravo 45. We're going to push on to November 3. There's a restriction here for 777s. It's restriction number 3. So taxi restrictions. They're not permitted to taxi there. For pushbacks, I don't think that's going to be an issue. But we're either going to get pushed back to Area 1, that's here. Alternatively, we go get pushed all the way down this center line, and that puts us somewhere here on taxiway November. Once that's done, there's no real restrictions. We're able to continue on November this way. And we're expecting to go runway 18, which will be November all the way down. Let's take a look at the big picture here at the airport. Oopsie, guess I don't have that ready. There we go, big picture of the airport here at Frankfurt. We are going to continue our taxi along that November line there. We're likely going to get full length from runway 18. Nevertheless, for strategic placements, they might change us. So we're going to take a performance from Yankee, and then we'll plan for the departure at Cindy. Standard reject items, so we'll stop below 80 knots for any fire if I want to predict your wind shear. Safe, unable to fly. Action, so I close the thrust levers, disconnect the auto throttle, verify I'll raise the speed brakes, and then we'll do the reverses. We'll call out any emissions stopping after 60 knots. We'll tell the TAR, Singapore 325 heavy stopping runway 18. We're close to maximum takeoff weight, so it's going to be a high energy reject. So we'll ask some tools to get the trucks rolling just to get us checked out. Potential crew at stations, attention crew at stations twice on the PA, and then we'll carry on. Beyond 80 knots, if we have any problems, we'll try to do something interesting. There's no departures out of runway 18 or no arrivals onto 18. So what we're going to do is we're going to follow, let's see if we can find en route somewhere safe to go park the aircraft. We'll carry on southbound, I think, and there was a VOR here that I remember that we can maybe head to. Yeah, we can maybe go to Reed VOR 1122. See if we can't do a hole there. There's no real terrain around that area, so we should be okay in terms of terrain. Let's see what that terrain is going to be, if anything. All green, 3-5, 4,000. So we'll go to 4,000 as we were cleared, and we'll hold it a direct hold into the Reed VOR, declare emergency. Consider if we can burn off fuel. If not, we try to find a place to dump. If we can't do that either, we'll just come back in for an overweight landing on the active runway here at Frankfurt. Normal departure is a Cindy 80. So we've been cleared. We'll fly straight to Delta Foxtrot 181. 171's next is a max 220. I don't think we're going to be above our clean speed there, so we're going to have to keep the airplane not clean. Thereafter, DF 173, 174, 170 all have their own restrictions, 4.2 and 5,000. And the last one's going to be AMTIX, and thereafter Cindy. Pretty straightforward departure. Initial climb clearance 4,000. Altitude constraints are due to procedural requirements, airspace structure, and if we're unable to maintain them, we're supposed to tell Frankfurt delivery. I don't see any issues with that. We're going to go ahead and get the performance into the airplane, and if there's a problem, the aircraft should tell us at that point. All right, that's good. We're all sorted out. Let's just go ahead and do the pre-flight checklist before we go any further. Got another 13 minutes for departure. The oxygen was checked. Flight instruments. We've got heading 229, the altimeter 1002, all across the board. And that's checked. The pre-flight checklist complete. I have got with me FS2 crew to help me out on today's departure. We're not using them today. Just a lot of work to get them sorted. So they're not going to be part of our departure plan today. We talked about if we were to have engine failures that we would go to Reed. Let me just go ahead and set the Reed VOR up as Romeo India Delta and Foxtrot Mike. So for my Mitarbeiter, so we can take a look at where Frankfurt is. That's what we're going to do, straight ahead. Looks like it's about 15 miles out from runway 18. And if anything, we'll go ahead and we'll stop there. Says APU is running. I didn't expect it to be. So if the APU is running, I get that in. So European airports, they like it to be nice and quiet most of the time. Let's go ahead and do some departure procedures here. We've got a nice little app here called Fig PPT. You may be familiar with it from before, but I've used it. And I'm going to bring you back onto the iPad so we can take a look at what that looks like. EDDF Frankfurt Main. We're going to depart runway 18. It's not going to be full length. We talked about using intersection Yankee, which I can't seem to find. But if I'm not mistaken, that should correspond with something else. Perhaps whiskey. No, that's not right. Let's go ahead and find for runway 18. North south. Runway ahead. North south. Let's take it from Lima. I think Lima sounds appropriate. So that's all the way down. Excuse me. That's Lima there. Yeah? It's like the worst case. Let's go ahead and select Lima as our intersection for departure. So dry runway, yeah. And we'll let it see if we can't. Yeah, so the weather it's got here for us on the side there is 050 at 9. It's Cavalcade, temperature 0 degrees, QNH 1002. Optimum rating's fine. Optimum flaps okay. We can leave the bleeds on. Anti-ice is unlikely to be required the first 3,000 feet because there's no clouds. And we can do improved climb, yes. Need to go ahead and find the takeoff weight and the Mach tow. For that, we're going to go back to PMDG here. And we're going to take a look at weight and balance of the aircraft. There we go. Takeoff weight 353028. I'm inserting it here in the background. And the Mach, our takeoff weight is above the limit of 3515. Okay, so I think there might be a slight discrepancy between the weights, 351500. So I'm going to go ahead and set maximum takeoff weight there. And the CG is going to be 27. And I'm going to go ahead and calculate that. I'll show you what that looks like for me here on VPT. While she calculates. I am alive. I have been busy. It's good to see you back on the stream. It's been really busy. Got a cold. Been flying around. I've got just 8 days off this month, so now we back to work here. I don't know if it was you or somebody else who rated me the other week. I'd seen you guys go online. I watched a little bit. Didn't really interact. Fell asleep, I think. Anyway, here we're back here at VPT. It's giving us 15. Performance limit is due to the obstacle. And that's an engine out acceleration at 1207. Expected takeoff run available. We'll do full takeoff thrust. And let's see if it gives us an assumed. Nope. No assumed. Let me show you the runway graphic. That's what it's going to look like for for the departure. Not a lot of margins, but these are numbers we can work with. Before we get started, I need to figure out why I'm a little bit overweight here. Let's take a look and see what SimBrief considers to be the maximum takeoff weight. Yeah, so SimBrief thinks the maximum takeoff weight is 352, whereas this thing here thinks it's 351. And I can't force it. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring SimBrief weights a bit further down, and we'll just, I guess, offload some cargo. All right, so we're going to do that by, we're going to go ahead and do that on the old school way. We'll use this, and we'll get rid of some cargo. 351.7, we wanted 3511, I think it was. Just to legalize 3515, okay. Gross weight 3517. Actually, no, it's gonna work out fine. That's gonna be fine. Good. Zero fuel weight's going in 3513, 3515. You see it's 1.5 more, which is not how much we expect to taxi with. 1.5 more. Let's drop it by 1.5. Let's make it 2, 3, 4.5. Let's see if that gross weight, maximum taxi weight, 350.3. So let's go ahead and put that in and see what we get now. 351.7. So it's about 200 less than the weight that we calculated, which is going to work out just fine for us. Thrust limit, takeoff, full thrust both ways, if I remember correctly. It's going to be a flaps 15 departure, CG 27. It says 6 units of trim here. Let me just check again with VPT. VPT had us doing, excuse me, 5.9 units. That's pretty close. V1 according to VPT is going to be 167. We're going to use that anyway. It's going to unbalance the fields for us. VR once. Let me just see how it looks. It's actually pretty similar. VR 177 and V2 183. And when I say similar, I mean the same. 183. We're doing an ADP 800 thrust reduction, 3000 for acceleration. 183 is going to go up there as well on the speed window. Speed 183 set. LNAV and VNAV are armed for departure. Good. I think that's it. Takeoff performance is done. Checklists are done. We've got another 5 minutes to go before departure. I get the impression I'm forgetting something, but I think that's it. Let's operate the jetway. All the boardings completed. I wonder if those are PMDG loaders. Gonna release all those vehicles. We're gonna close all those doors. We're running on the APU, so that's not a big deal. Just check all the doors do in fact close. Nope, those don't, not yet. They are closing. Good, they're all closed. And we can arm them all as well. After which we'll request that we get ready for push. Prepare the aircraft for departure. Do I want de-icing treatment? No. 0 degrees Celsius. I probably took on some warm fuel. And any ice is going to melt. I mean, it's quite dry out there, so there's not going to be any ice. There you go. Fuel temperature is -1 at the moment. And there was a decent split between the temperature and dew point, so we're not expecting any active frost anyway. Good. They are ready for the push, so what we're going to do is pressurize the hydraulics for the aircraft. We'll also get the fuel pumps started. Beacon lights on. Gonna come down here and set the trim for departure, 6 units of trim. Sections of trim. Let's go ahead and do the before takeoff check, before start checklist. Flight deck door. Clicked it, closed and locked. Is it locked though? Must be. Passenger signs are on according to it. MCP speed V2 is going to be 183, 179. Initial climb 4000. LNAV and VNAV are armed. Takeoff speeds flaps 15, 67, 77, 83. CT pre-flight. I'm on takeoff. You on legs. Completed. Trim. Set to 6 units. 0 and 0. Taxi to takeoff brief is completed. Beacon lights are on. This is done. Just need request push and start now. By looks of it, about 2 minutes ahead of schedule. Frankfurt ground, Singapore 325 heavy, Bravo 25, request push and start. Push and start approved, area 2, Singapore 325 heavy. Okay, we're going to area 2. Let me show you where that is on the iPad. Area 2, as we discussed earlier, is going to be, say, probably here. I've been asked to release the chocks now. I'm going to go ahead and do that. Thought I'd done that already, but my bad. We're going to remove the chocks. Parking brakes. Released. I'll get the chrono started there for my colleague.
Request taxi to gate. November 11, November 7, 49 Charlie.
April, Google, Lufthansa 103, behind the bridge.
Hello, Lufthansa 193, taxi 1 November 11, November, hold short of November 8, expect Alpha 25.
November, hold short, November 8 and expecting Alpha 25, Lufthansa 103.
This is quite nice. We just sit here and watch the engine start. We're using the sound pack from Boris Audio Works. Look at that. Good start, good push. Tight push by the looks of it.
Lufthansa 088, request taxi.
Lufthansa 088, taxi 1 November 8, hold description, taxi November 8, hold short of Lima.
Taxi November 8, hold short of Lima, Lufthansa 088.
Right, one engine started well. We're gonna go ahead and start the next one.
Taxi right, November and Victor 172, now taxi right, November and Victor 163. To Victor 163, by November, 49 Charlie.
Getting pulled a little bit. 25% you see there. The fuel should be coming in shortly. There you go. Good light off. Parking brake set.
Lufthansa 088 at November, Gefell Company 321, right to left.
So iPhone 6.
November, give way to company 320, right to left, Lufthansa 088.
It's a good stable start.
993, continue November, November 5, stand Alpha, description Alpha 25 now.
We'll wait for the person to just leave and then
Continue November and confirm November 8 to Alpha 25.
we'll get started with the rest.
November, November 5, Alpha 25.
November 5, Alpha 25, Lufthansa 193.
08, you can continue, after Lufthansa, you can continue November 8, Lima, hold short of Lima Hotel.
Alright, while GSX is disconnecting us, I'm gonna go ahead very quickly and I'm gonna see if I can't maybe
Lufthansa 49 Charlie arrived.
get into VR very quickly. So just give me a second here.
verloren, der geht nämlich 07.
Alright, so change of plans. That was a terrible idea. Because I haven't streamed for a few days, so that didn't really work out, so it was just unnecessary. Hope you enjoyed the lounge music though, and we're just about to request taxi, so we'll just get straight into that now. We'll take a look at our taxi instructions. We'll get that ready here. I'll pop that up on the iPad as well, so we can take a look.
Sorry, Tower 11879
1878, German 690,
Oh wait, let's do the flow. I mean, I can't just start texting. Let's get the APU off. Don't need that anymore. Let me get the camera lights on after. Everything's great here. We said we're going to depart with flaps 15, 5, and 15. And while that's on its way down, let's go ahead and take a look at our flight controls. All the way to the left. That works. All the way to the right. That works as well. Going nose down. Nose up. Links. And rights. Everything is A-okay. Flight controls are checked. Cancel that. We'll just wait for the flaps to hit where they need to be. Yeah, and then we can request for taxi. No precipitation, there's no problem taxiing with the flaps out at this temperature. Recall, satisfactory. Gonna request taxi now. Frankfurt ground Singapore 325 heavy, request taxi.
Singapore 325, taxi November 3, Lima, runway 18.
November 3 onto Lima, runway 18. Singapore 325 heavy. Alright, so it's a little bit different than I planned. I thought we were gonna go left, right to November, but we're gonna taxi November 3 all the way down to Lima, and then we'll turn right. And then, if you remember, we took our takeoff performance from somewhere around there. Lima is essentially going to bring us all the way to the end of runway 18. So it's a good thing that we had a performance ready from there anyway. But it's a simple-ish taxi. Let's not get it wrong. Alles gut. So brakes released. And next stop. I'm not sure why she went on alt. It's supposed to be. Gonna recycle flight directors real quick. There we go. LNAV, VNAV armed. Good. Brakes released. Camera lights. Turn off at taxis. We can go ahead and turn the dome lights off as well. Nice and dark. And not a huge fan of floods. We can get those down as well. She doesn't really want to move because of how heavy she is. Let's give her a little bit of encouragement. And hopefully we can get some action in her. There you go. I'm gonna try to use not more than 30%. I think that's the limit for the 777. Let's get this dark as well. Okay. And back to idle.
581, taxi runway 18, 2 November, November 5, and Lima. Actually, 581, runway 18, 2 November.
I don't know if I just saw an Indigo there, but it seems like Indigo's following me every way. Alright, we'll go super dark here. There's nothing better than a nice romantic 12-hour flight, just you and your. It's all fun and games until someone reaches over and tries to hold your hand. That's when you want to connect to Wi-Fi and text your wives or girlfriends. Can't be. You think you're safe, not always. Gotta be careful. Okay, the cabin is ready for us. It's clear left and right. Straight ahead's the runway, so this makes this Lima. Turn right on Lima. Ooh, that's nice. Nice low taxi. Let's keep the gear on so we can see how that's doing. If you remember, one of these tires are a little bit older than the rest. Want to keep an eye that we don't overstress that. There's an Emirates.
Even Lufthansa 1 to Echo, information Quebec, effort to lose the flight.
The 1 to Echo, good evening, information. What's the price?
There's our aircraft.
To Lima, Foxtrot, Bravo, Oscar. Aniki to Lima, departure, question info Quebec, keep Lima, Foxtrot, Bravo, Oscar, Aniki to Lima, departure. Flight plan routes, climb vessel to 4,000 feet, score 4,000.
Stay to Lima, Foxtrot, Bravo, Oscar. Aniki to Lima, departure, climb vessel 4,000, score 1,000. From the 1 to Echo.
Correct, location easy.
Okay, 8 knots is a bit slow. Let's get this going. Let's get her up to like 25. She seems to be holding speed well. So let's accelerate up to 25 knots and then we'll slow her down once we get there. Did we do the before taxi checklist? No, we did not. So the anti-ice is off. Recall was checked, the flight controls were checked, and the ground equipment was clear before taxi checklist is complete. By the looks of it, the before takeoff checklist as well.
Flight 581, contact tower 118.780 over.
Contact tower 118.
I don't even know who that is. Okay, I had a moment there. I thought that was it, end of the stream. But we're still going. We're still going strong.
Singapore 325, Toronto Unicom 1228, have a nice evening.
Unicom 1228 Singapore 325. Thanks, you too. Schönen Abend, ciao.
Danke. All stations is Frankfurt.
Right, I think so. We got out just in time. Frankfurt's closing. 1228 it is. This is fine. The VATSIM departure is fine. What's going to happen is when we get closer towards Singapore for the arrival tomorrow, I'm going to be monitoring the flight for most of the evening. Got nothing to do. We're going to have a couple of cups of tea. For 12 hours, we're going to take a look at note times and get ourselves familiar with the routing, let's say. When we get closer to Singapore, it's going to be around 4 p.m. Singapore time, and it's going to be a Friday evening. I don't think many people from Singapore are going to be online controlling at that time. So we're going to assess them, and if they are controlling, we'll remain on the VATSIM network. If there are no controllers online, we'll just disconnect, and we'll do the arrival from using Beyond ATC, and we'll plan for that to happen somewhere around Phuket, just so it gives Beyond ATC enough time to sort of wake up and make things pretty. And for the arrival as well, we'll try to do VR. It's a shame it didn't work here. I've got feedback that sometimes the VR can get a little bit shaky. So I'd gotten some overlays to essentially try to kind of stabilize it. And I was hoping to showcase that today, but unfortunately didn't seem to work. Worked off stream okay a week ago or so. You can find another video I'd made. I forgot which flight that was. I think it was the MD-11 into Kai Tak. Quite taxing on the VR, especially in Kai Tak, because there was a few stutters there. But didn't really notice anything in the headsets and the playback. Yes. So if you wanted to take a look at what it looks like in VR, you can go ahead and watch that video up on YouTube. It won't be on Twitch, of course. Um, and we're going to try to do something similar for the arrival into Singapore. It's quite a nice arrival, very tropical. You fly over very.
Traffic amplifier 1 entry runway 18 for immediate departure. After departure, we'll be doing an EQ to destination.
Say again.
Frankfurt traffic amplifier 1 entering runway 18 for immediate departure. After departure, we'll be doing an EQ to Lima departure for destination Stuttgart. Frankfurt traffic.
Okay. It's very classic iFly if you are interested. IRL as well, they speak like there's no tomorrow. Like they got to get everything out the system right now. Understood nothing, but the second time around an EQ2 Lima departure going to Stuttgart by the sounds of it. We'll line up behind them as number 2 on runway 18. Full takeoff checklist is complete. In case of departure, if something goes wrong, we'll fly straight to the rate VOR. We'll pick up a hold there, direct entry, right turns, left turns. We'll assess. At the moment we're above maximum takeoff weight, 25.1 was what we needed. And we are currently 351.2, about 100 kilos. So on the takeoff roll, we'll lose it. And we should be ready to go. And I will just check in now and I will say hello. Frankfurt traffic, Singapore 325 heavy, via Lima, lining up for runway 18, Singapore 325 for Frankfurt traffic. Strobe lights are on, TCAS is on, and we'll advise cabin crew. Nice and gentle on the brakes. Bring her to about 10 knots. That iFly has departed. Frankfurt traffic, Singapore 325 heavy, departing runway 18, Cindy 8 Sierra departure, Frankfurt. Frankfurt traffic's advised. Let's go ahead and get the power up.
Traffic amplifier 1 F1 passing 1100 all the way to flight level 170 on EQ to Lima departure. Currently 12 feet turning left and proceeding direct to Luberg. Frankfurt traffic.
Thrust ref Toga Toga. $80 knots. We've achieved 101.9, 101.8, which is our takeoff thrust. So our performance calculations are still valid. Now to see how we go onto the concrete part of the runway.
V1.
Hands up. Rotate. Nice strong rotation to get it going. Positive rate of climb, gears going up. I'm not sure why she's asking me to pitch down. Sorry, but seems to have worked, and now she wants a strong pitch up. Okay. Thrust ref, LNAV, VNAV speed. So past the 800 foot, which is where we said we're gonna start accelerating. Sorry, we're gonna reduce to climb thrust, and we'll start accelerating at 3,000 feet. It's a little bit difficult to fly aircraft with yokes on Flight Simulator, especially when you have no force feedback. There's no weight to it. It's almost like flying a dead yoke, which is quite. I mean, it's interesting, but the swinging has no effect. There's no weight to it. So these kind of things really do affect your performance a little bit, let's say. So 2,500 above at the first restriction, Delta Foxtrot 171, we made it. There's no other traffic in and around, so let's go ahead and set safely 10,000 feet. We'll keep an eye out for others. There's the iFly, I think. They buggered off Stuttgart. There we go, we're about 3,000 above the field, and now we're at the range where we can start accelerating. If I'm not mistaken, there was a speed restriction here on this SID, which was 220 knots, I think. Let's go ahead and set 220 till I can verify. So we'll leave the flaps at 15. Just taking a quick look at the SID here. Max 220 was just for DF171, which we're clear of, so we'll close the speed window once again, and we'll start retracting the flaps. Flaps 5.
Traffic, German cargo 450.
So it's selected, we're checking for movement here, it's all good.
25. Thank you.
And we'll go ahead and set flaps 1. So the margins are quite tight here for when you take off very heavy. Over here you're too slow, over there you're too fast for your current flap setting. So we're gonna go ahead and now set flaps up. I remind myself what the transition level here is in Germany. 5,000 feet, perfect, we're getting there. Transition altitude, altimeter set standard. Delta Foxtrot 214. You see that why the red bars came up was because of the wing loading, because I was pulling a little bit as well on the turn. I'll show you that in performance. Here you go. You see me pulling? Airspeed low. When I push, it recovers. It takes into account the actual load on the wing at the moment. That's why you got to be quite gentle with those stuff. The 777 is quite when it's heavy. It's very it's a rather interesting aircraft to fly. All right, we're done here. Most of the route from this point on is going to be quite straight. So she's trimmed out at speed. Let's go ahead and set the autopilot on. Once that's done, I'm just going to go ahead up here. We can start doing part of the after takeoff flows. We'll turn off the lights that we don't need. And I just want to verify that our pressurization is going normal as well. Cabin altitude 2100, landing altitude's auto. Yep, we've got a differential pressure and we're climbing. So pressurization is normal. Something you want to check when you fly, when you are going to get above 10,000 soon. No further ATC. Let's say let's go up to 240. We'll keep an eye out for traffic in and around the area. And we're almost at the end of our departure, and there's no further ATC speed restrictions or altitude constraints that we need to meet, so everything seems to be going well according to plan. Here we are passing 10,000 feet. Landing lights can go off, the logo light can go off. I'll leave the seatbelts on a little bit longer, just until we accelerate to 320, which if you notice the nose has just dropped now for that to about 5 degrees. Once we get to 320, the nose is going to lift up again once more, and once it's steady at whatever angle that it's selected for 320 knots, I'll go ahead and select the seatbelt signs to auto. Good. There's also an opportunity for us to now take a look at what's going on around us. I see. The Valda Center for Munich might be active on frequency 136230. Maybe. Say again.
Stuttgart traffic as per 581, passing flight level 123, 25 miles from Luberg on a course of 151. We'll be leaving flight level 130 and descending to flight level 50. Passing Luberg will be manually vectoring north to vehicle side and will be maintaining 3 speeds below flight level 10.
Happy landing, Captain. Seatbelt signs auto. Seatbelts can go to auto now, which is done. A little bit of a VATSIM troll moment there. Alright, what's next here? I'm looking now at Navigraph, Volanta, whatever you want to look at. Around position Dembo will be at the Echo Delta Mike, so that's Munich Center, Waldo Control 136230. Ahead, that's going to be at Bembo, sorry. And what level are we expecting to be at Bembo? 276. So we're flying eastbound, so what I'm going to do is try to get to 270 by there. And then I'm just going to tell them that we're maintaining 270 and get further climb from center. Cloudless night in Germany. And everybody is asleep. That's a joke for you guys. Alright, so I see that the readout there says you're expecting to touch down at 10:54 Zulu, whereas the FMC is showing us at 8:35 Zulu. There's a slight discrepancy because I believe that's calculating real time as we go along. So ground speed is bound to increase as the flight passes. Realistically, we're expecting to touch down somewhere around 8:35 Zulu. So at Frankfurt, that's going to be 9:30 in the morning. Singapore, it's about 4 in the morning. And where I am, it's classified. No smoking on. Yeah, you know what? Don't smoke. It's not good for you. So I can tell you also that Echo Delta Mike offers, sorry, the Munich Control, Echo Delta Mike, yeah. These guys, they offer a CPDLC above flight level 315, which you're not going to be. I think we're going to get to 270 in the FIR, and then we'll head up further. We'll get higher up. So if I'm not mistaken, we are still in the grand state of Rhineland, oh my god, which state are we in now? So we took off from Hessen, and here we are in Baden-Württemberg, yeah. And shortly we're going to be entering Bayern, Freistadt Bayern. And yeah, I forgot something. We didn't select the weather radar and terrain for my colleague as well. Yeah, we're not. Oh, we don't need the Frankfurt or the Reed VORs at this time. We can go ahead and deselect both. You can tune whatever you like, and I'll turn these off because I'm not interested. Very nice. What else can we do? We can look up some alternates that we like, right? So let's go ahead and already get those ready. Airports that I know that can handle a pretty much fully loaded 777 in terms of firefighting and structural capability. We have Munich that's coming up straight ahead. We had Frankfurt that we left. Next is going to be Wien, and possibly thereafter Budapest. We'll take a look at the weather for all these airports as we progress. Up there we got to contact me. Let's see who it is. 136230. That's expected. Let's say hello. München Servo Singapore 325 heavy. Passing flight level 230, climbing 270.
Singapore 325 München, hello, identified. Climb to flight level 290.
Continue climb flight level 290, Singapore 325 heavy.
München radar service Lufthansa 7 Kilo Alpha.
Lufthansa 7 Kilo Alpha München, hello, identified. Descend to
Alright, you
flight
see it tells
level
you.
130 to reach at Buram.
Uh, 130 descend level by Coram, Lufthansa 7 Kilo Alpha.
7 Kilo Alpha at Buram, Bravo, Uniform, Romeo, Alpha Mike.
I like to visualize the airports I like. Munich,
Lufthansa 9055,
Frankfurt,
climb to flight level 360.
Vienna,
Climb flight level 360, Lufthansa 9055.
Budapest.
Hello, with 3032 for the 1370.
Okay, first one there, Munich,
With a 3032
Wien,
München, hello, identified.
Budapest. They're right next to each other, to be honest. And then Frankfurt slightly behind. This part here in Europe, we got plenty of airports to go to.
Contact München radar on 133, that's 615, just. Lufthansa 9055, contact München on 133, that's 615, schönen Abend.
133 615, Lufthansa 9055. Schönen Abend auch, tschüss.
Lufthansa 117, contact München radar on 133, that's 615, tschüss.
133, that's 615, next, how's the 117?
All's clear on the western front. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You probably know this already, but if you don't,
München radar, repelling 45 Foxtrot, climbing through flight level
you can see that airplane is going left across the screen.
Welling 45
You'll
Foxtrot München, hello,
among
identified. Climb to flight level 3.
all aircraft and even boats. The left wing is always got a red tip, the right wing is always got a green tip. So just so you can see how it goes. Light as you're flying along. That means the aircraft whose green light you can see is flying left to right. So if you see only a red light, he's going right to left. If you see only whites, they're going away from you. And if you see a combination of red and green, they're in some way coming towards you. Let's put it that way. This is just built into design and regulations. So just by looking at the lights, you can see what's going on. So you can see this guy, we're seeing predominantly red. So we're seeing his left wing, which means he's going from right to left across our screen. Don't see any green lights here, so I can't really tell you. Ah, there we go, there's a green light. So I'm seeing his right wing, so he's going left to right. This guy here as well, left wing, so he's going right to left, but at some point that should switch over. We should start seeing both, because I think he's going sort of down and left-ish. So, I mean, let's see. I think we're going to overtake him before we get to see it, though. Thought I saw quite a bit of traffic there. So somewhere around here is the Munich airport, and that stretch of lights you see is Munich, which developed around the Isar River. And you can just about start seeing the start of the Alps there. If you follow these roads further up, you're going to get to some nice ski resorts, Garmisch-Partenkirchen and a lot. We're up to 1,000 to level. Sorry, 500 to level now. And let's take a look here at Vina to see if she's capable of anything better.
Ryanair 108, contact Wien Radar on 132.190.
Recommended 250, which is quite
132.190.
not quite
Ryanair
what I was
108.
expecting.
Thank you, good night.
Optima 288, we're at 29. And I believe she's recommending 250 based on the wind. Speed, VNF path.
Singapore 326, monitor advisory 122, destination.
122, sure.
Oh, Singapore 326 is here as well.
7 Kilo Alpha, proceed direct Delta Mike 431.
Direct Delta Mike 431, ascent 7 Kilo Alpha.
7 Kilo Alpha, monitor advisory, contact München on 128.030. Schönen Abend.
Say again, 128.730?
7 Kilo Alpha 128.030. Good evening.
128.030 and
Looking ahead, I can tell you
Delta Mike, center 7 Kilo Alpha, apologies.
Munich, Salzburg, they're both active. So Munich and Vienna are active, parts of Vienna at least. And from that point on, we're entering practically radio silence.
Can you repeat the Delta Mike direct 7 Kilo Alpha?
Delta Mike 431.
Delta Mike 431, sorry about that. Look down 7 Kilo Alpha, bye.
Just based on the look outside the window, it looks to me like
Welling 45 Foxtrot, climb to flight level 360.
like weather won't be an issue today.
Level 360, Welling 45 Foxtrot.
Let's see if I can't somehow find a way to get some information.
Singapore 325, proceed direct Isega.
Direct to waypoint Isega, Singapore 325 heavy. Isega, direct. And that's just past Munich, so must be the end of the FIR there. Execute that. Okay, so you know what? I'm gonna ask you guys to just take my word for it. And we're gonna go ahead and take a look at some of the weather is available ahead of us here at Munich. Munich is very active, so we can request weather. The aircraft. ATIS, Echo Delta Delta Mike. And VATSIM as a source, and let's just send that off. It comes up. It's a bit strange to be cruising this low. I've not cruised at level 290 in a long time. It's quite, it's not a very common level for me. Munich information Zulu.
Alpine 54
Vectors.
information, hello. Proceed direct Lando, descend to flight level 200.
Let's focus more on our conversation here. So it's vectors for the independent parallel ILS approach 08 left and right. Transition level 70, light wind. Visibility is 9 kilometers, no clouds. Temperature -6. Quite a bit colder than Frankfurt. Altimeter 1001. Today sounds like a good day to go to Munich. I'm gonna dial in the QNH from Munich. Should we have an emergency descent straight down to 10,000 feet, will keep us safe. And next we're gonna go ahead and get the ATIS from Vienna.
Delta 5959 mention, hello, identified.
Sorry, terrible cough.
with a 3032, contact Wien radar on 134.440, Roger.
Here's Wien's Vienna arrival. Papa 2050, which is about 30 minutes ago. They're using runway 16 for arrival. Sorry, still struggling with that cough. 16 for arrival. 60 kilometers of visibility. A few clouds of 500 feet. -5, so a little bit of icing condition here on the approach pot day. Don't know how thick that layer is going to be. Current is 1008. On the ground as well as icing conditions.
Mike.
On the ground as well as going to be icing conditions. 555 wet. So at -5, we're going to have the engine NTIs on chemically treated end of data. So it's wet from the chemicals. Yeah, good. And now we just chill. Just wait until something happens. I hit the full romantic mode. Oh, there's more.
Delta 5959er, descent to flight level 200.
Descending flight level 200, Delta 59er.
Lufthansa 4 Yankee Victor, contact München on 133.615, tschüss.
München on 133.615, Lufthansa 4 Yankee Victor, tschüss.
Japan 54 Yankee Uniform, descent to flight level 170.
Descent to flight level 170, backward for Yankee.
Japan 54 Yankee Uniform, contact München on 128.030, Roger.
128.030, backward for Yankee from thank you, tschüss.
Singapore 325, contact Wien radar on 134.440, Roger.
C2 Foxtrot, hello from flight level 205, flight level 230.
Singapore 325, hello, direct to Tigri. Sky 5 Whiskey Juliet, do you know how long the controller is online in Innsbruck? Otherwise, if he's still online whilst I'm landing, I will redirect to Salzburg so I don't cause any problems.
Vielen Dank, aber ich nehme an, dass die Kollegen in den nächsten 4 Minuten auch zusperren werden, so wie wir alle.
Okay, verstanden, dann kriegen wir das dann.
Sorry, here I am and you haven't been able to hear me. So we're getting close to the tri-state border between Czech Republic, Vienna, and Germany. And that's around here somewhere. So you've got Linz coming up shortly. České Budovice, Český Krumlov in the Czech Republic off to the left side there. And I'm not sure what the German equivalent would be, but just the southern part of Czech Republic, northern Austria.
UPS 772, monitor Unicom, goodbye.
Seems like Tegri is the end of Budapest
UPS
FIR.
772, monitor Unicom, goodbye. Skyflyer for Whiskey Juliet, Unicom, servus.
Unicom Skyflyer for Whiskey Juliet. Schönen Abend noch und danke für den Service.
Danke.
UPS 772 Unicom, Tankstelle, ciao.
Ciao. With 3032, Vienna is closing, monitor Unicom, goodbye.
Thank you, advisory 3032.
Singapore 325, Wien is closing, monitor Unicom, goodbye.
Unicom Singapore 325. Thanks very much. Goodbye. Cheers.
Control stations, Wien is closing, monitor Unicom, goodbye.
So it's going to be a last frequency change of the day, 122.8. So I thank you all for joining me for the departure out of Frankfurt. It was nice to talk about the things I do while we do it. Just a quick recap: standard departure out of Frankfurt, easy taxi, easy departure. We had a quick look at VPT, talked about performance a little bit. We had a maximum takeoff weight performance out of Frankfurt. As we go along today, we're going to reach further stuff that we're going to end up doing. We're going to do a little bit of politically sensitive airspace, around Turkey, Ukraine. That part of the world can be quite exciting, quite interesting. So we're going to do a little bit of that. And then we have some interesting stuff going on in Afghanistan as well. Fly a certain way in Afghanistan remains uncontrolled airspace below until you get to basically Kabul's, getting above the Kabul CTR uncontrolled airspace. There's some procedures that need to be done once we get closer to Afghanistan. Moving further on through Pakistan and those bits, so you have a little bit of high terrain. You got to come up with a plan of action on how to deal with the high terrain. But that's actually all the way once we're past from the northern part of Turkey. Because you got terrain on your right. We'll thread the needle through the Caucasus. The Caspian Sea is a little bit of relief. There's not much going on. Not much in Turkmenistan there until we cross between Afghanistan and Pakistan. India's fairly no terrain concerns. Might be a little bit of weather. The Bay of Bengal is notorious for weather, and it was quite isolated as well. So we'll do a little bit of ETOPS for that part, and then the arrival finally into Singapore, which I hope some of you will be around to see. I'm going to try to get the VR stuff sorted out for that as well. Estimated time of arrival into Singapore is going to be 8:35. So around 7:30 Zulu. I'll try to start the stream by then. Very nice. Thanks for joining me. Do hope you've had a pleasant time. Had a good time putting this together, of course. So, excuse me. Had a good time putting this together. And we'll see you, I guess, on the other side.